So again, if you want to join the full discussion, the Zoom codes are on our Vajra Dakini Nunnery website page. All sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they have happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. All sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they have happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. All sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness. May they have happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. As earth and the other elements, together with space, eternally provide sustenance in many ways for the countless sentient beings, so may I become sustenance in every way for sentient beings to the limits of space until all have attained nirvana. As the Sugatas of old gave birth to bodhicitta and progressively established themselves in the training of a bodhisattva, so I too, for the benefit of beings, shall give birth to that bodhicitta and progressively train myself in that discipline. At this moment, my life has become fruitful. I have realized my human life. Today, I am born into the family of the Buddhas. Now I'm a child of the Buddhas. From now on, I will forthrightly perform the actions befitting my family. I will act so as not to degrade the faultlessness and discipline of my family. Just as with a blind man finding a jewel in a heap of dust, thus somehow bodhicitta has been born in me. This is the supreme Amrita which destroys death, the inexhaustible treasure which removes the world's poverty. It is the supreme medicine which cures the world's sickness, the tree which provides rest for beings weary of wandering on the paths of existence. It is the universal bridge on which all travelers may pass over the lower realms, the rising moon of mind which dispels the torment of the kleshas. It is the great sun which puts an end to the obscurity of ignorance, the pure butter which comes of churning the milk of the holy Dharma. For travelers wandering the paths of existence, seeking happiness from objects of enjoyment, it is supreme bliss near at hand, the great feast which satisfies sentient beings. Today, witnessed by all the protectors, I have welcomed the sentient beings and Sugatas, Devas, and Asuras rejoice. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. So good morning, good to see everybody. We are in the first section of Lojong, the section of the absolute. So just to remember, this is the last slogan in the group of the absolute. The absolute is a description of the fruition. So it's more, this is where we're going. It's not something that you will necessarily understand right away or be able to accomplish right away, but it's a sense of this is the view. It's important for you to hear so that you know the direction you're heading, and you gradually recognize in your direct experience sort of signposts heading in this direction. So we're heading towards San Francisco, not towards Juneau. You know, we have an idea of where we're going and we can sort of recognize it. So don't become in any way discouraged, you know, in the sense of we left off last time resting in the alaya or resting in the absolute. And we, of course, are not there yet. It's more, this is how your meditation will move, and you keep moving until you have a direct experience of this. And if you find that your meditation is going in a very different way, then you can correct your course. So the slogan for today is in post-meditation, be a child of illusion. So this is the final slogan in this group, and it's talking about when you arise from your cushion, what is supportive to maintaining this state, this resting in the alaya or resting in the absolute. And this is a very evocative description, a child of illusion. And I'm going to talk about it from a couple of different perspectives, but you probably can find something in your experience that will help you relate to this. So just to summarize, the first slogan was regard all dharmas as a dream. So to start to question everything we're experiencing and how we are making each thing that we see more and more concretized and important and full of meaning when these sensory perceptions are really just these elusive, ephemeral points of data. Then the thoughts that we have about them are equally elusive and ephemeral. In modern science, you could think of as just synapses connecting and sparking. So nothing more than that. So questioning why we start filling everything with such drama. Then the second one was examine the nature of the unborn awareness. Who is creating the drama? Who is filling everything with such important notions, to really begin to question the knower. And as the seer and the seen start to waver a little bit in terms of our belief in the all-important I or self, then we have these moments of really being able to let go. And we let go of the effort of the analytic seeing and just rest in the spaciousness. So we see the illusory nature through mindfulness, which has a quality of effort, through analysis that has a quality of effort. And eventually we abandon the effort and just rest in this openness. So you can see this is moment by moment, slowing down, really intense mindfulness. Then we can relax the intensity until we are completely rested, but it's all slowing way down. Then the second we start to rise from the cushion, all of a sudden we're putting everything into motion again, bringing emotion into it. All of a sudden, we're taking that open, spacious mental state to whatever degree we've been able to give rise to it. And we're filling with all of the thoughts again. We're filling with all of the habitual narratives, our patterns of either aggressive response or addictive response, and we're speeding up again. So how do we take this spaciousness into the interactive world, interacting with objects, interacting with people, is to maintain this quality of slowing down and spaciousness by being like a child that sees everything without connecting to conceptual narratives. So I forget who, someone was talking about perhaps their grandchildren. If we took a grandchild or a toddler, let's say 2 different places, into a circus or into a church. In either case, the child would just be hearing sounds and seeing color and seeing movement and enjoying. They wouldn't have a qualitative difference in terms of their interpretation, because they're not interpreting yet. They're not connecting to memories, good and bad. They're not making meaning. They're just seeing movement and color and light, and they're absorbing the emotional quality of the people around them. So, but they're not doing that in terms of making meaning. They might just be feeling different qualities of buzzes. So if we take this now to who we are and how we're resuming our lives when we rise from the cushion, it's really important right now. If you think of how increased our confusion and anger is, how intensified the fear has become between the environmental degradation and the chaotic COVID and chaotic politics, we're taking an open spaciousness, and all around us are all these swirls of craziness. So if we can walk into each situation with a relaxed curiosity, that is a very different mental state than being pulled right into the spin, pull it into the politics argument, pulling into, any minute, wherever we're living, there can be a big environmental natural event. There's going to be a blizzard in a couple of days here. So all of this, instead of being a shock that spins us into conceptualization of good or bad, and my plans have changed, the future I wanted has changed, instead of all of this mental spinning, if we are a child of illusion, there's a relaxed quality of observing with a friendly curiosity. oh, look what is arising in this moment. I wanted to be able to predict that my day was going to be like this, but of course, I know that everything is impermanent. So this is arising in this moment. How can I respond in a way that increases clarity, and that in some ways serves the increased compassion in whatever situation I'm in? Instead of predicting my behavior, predicting the behavior of others, it's this person, I'm not going to predict what their behavior is. They, in the past, have responded in the same way a million times, but with curious friendliness, is there a way to gently open a space for increased love, increased understanding in this very moment, without hope and fear, without predicting behaviors, mine or others, and noticing, bringing our mindfulness skills. So we're noticing, are we being pulled into the spin, or are we clear of the spin? And extending the same friendly curiosity, seeing when we're being pulled into the spin and knowing that, all right, I need to create mental clarity and stillness before I respond to this situation. So there's a quality of softness, a quality of gentleness, a quality of friendly curiosity. And we can think of the baby in these different situations that isn't creating or isn't assuming meaning. Much less taking in meaning, much less generating hope and fear. But another example, since we have a lot of grandparents here, if you think of the grandparents who are sitting on the park bench watching children play, even the parents sitting on the bench, but grandparents have a little more distance. So sometimes we talk about the grandparents' heart because they're just enough away that they can maintain the big picture longer, that friendly, compassionate view. So you're seeing children play, and you're seeing groups get together, hurt feelings, friendship form, falling apart, coming back together, falling apart, coming back together, children falling down, getting up, children screaming and crying, and then the next minute they're playing again. And you're just observing all of that. So there's that sense as a child of illusion, observing samsara manifesting right in front of you without becoming caught in the confusion of samsara. So it's the same quality of being able to see when folks are getting confused and what might be the right word, the right gentle touch to bring the wisdom light into the situation. And we're seeing, all these children are sadly caught in their own confusion. So what can I do to help the child see that in a moment, the scraped knee is going to function and they'll be playing again. In a moment, their friend that they just had a little disagreement with will be their friend again. So again, it's a big picture, observing warmly view of samsara and watching the wisdom and confusion coexist, and seeing how can we increase the wisdom, how can we increase the warmth, and how can we not get caught up in the swirl of emotions, the swirl of confusion, but what is the right movement? What is the right participation that will build wisdom and compassion? So let's sit with this, just take it in, and we may be taking in the whole group of these slogans. We can have fairly clear states when we're sitting in meditation, but how do we bring this mindfulness? How do we sustain the compassion? How do we sustain the moments of clarity that we have as we're moving through this very confused samsaric world? How do we keep ourselves clear of immediately predicting how the narrative is going to go, how the story is going to go? So we have to quickly move to protect and defend, or in some way strike out. How do we keep that curiosity? My only role is to keep clear and to see how I can increase compassion and lessen confusion. Okay, let's sit with this. So I'm going to invite you now to join breakout rooms to really explore how you relate to child evolution. When have you had an experience where you were able to slow down with that curiosity and not get caught up in confusion? It might have been, just after a, big event, uh, like a diagnosis, or you may have visited, like I find I have this experience when I travel and I get off the airplane and all of a sudden it's a whole new environment. So really, what does like a illusion, a child of illusion, mean to you experientially, and how has it been for you when you've not jumped into the chaos, but you are able to sustain that big, soft awareness instead of just immediately hooked into the drama? So you're not forced if you'd like to sit in meditation, and I'm going to do a dedication and close the Facebook Live. Bodhicitta, excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn may it arise, where it is born may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. So I'm bringing everyone back. So, what were your observations? When were you really able to sustain that quality of spaciousness in our crazy world? What does being a child of illusion mean to you? Okay, everybody's sort of smiling. Ashante, you look like you were laughing. What were you thinking about?
Uh, I actually saw Venerable Gawa raising her hand, and I'll be very quick. I was sharing with my group the first time I saw snow. I was 26 years old. I grew up in Sri Lanka, which was very tropical, so snow was just an illusion at the time. And when I first moved to Denver, I was crying, and I was sad because it was the first time away from home. And then I was in the cab going to the motel, and then I saw this white stuff on the ground, and I thought, oh, they have white sand here. And then in a split second, I'm like, no, it's December, it's snow. So for the first time, I was like, oh yeah, although I was sad to leave home and I was jet lagged for being in the plane for like 28 hours, I felt quite happy at that moment. So that was like, although I was 26, I was an adult, but seeing that made me think like a child. So that was that was one of the moments.
Oh, that is a great example. And Venerable Gewa, what were you wanting to share?
The moments, and there are many of them in all of our lives, the times when what I expected to happen doesn't. When an appointment was set up that doesn't happen, when a schedule falls apart, when a COVID hits, all those little things. And I'm brought up against my own expectations or my own opinions, then it's like, oh, you thought it would be different. You thought you were in charge of how this was going to go. And Eileen said a really neat thing about how she feels liberated when she's kind of brought up into those moments. And that's exactly it. We kind of suddenly we realize I'm not responsible for how this goes. I'm just here. Okay, that's great. So it's those moments for me when it's like, oh, I didn't expect that. That's not how I thought it would go. And then it's like, oh, I thought it would be my way.
Especially, yes, I thought it would be my way.
Yeah, even just the way I thought, that's still my way. Whether I am have any power in it at all, it's just I thought that. Huh. Okay. And one of my favorite teachings is my opinion isn't worth dog spit. My opinion is just a mental formation. Oh, and that is, yes, very liberating.
I like that dog spit. Other folks, what would you like to share? Jeff?
Well, first of all, I have to say I love the idea that there's a new Lojong slogan. My opinion isn't worth dog spit.
Yeah, you can write that in. Yeah.
I should just stop there. I was thinking about a conversation I had with a friend just the other day about physics and atoms and subatomic particles and how, if we believe, how do we know anything? But if we believe what physics tells us, then really, what is it? 99.999% of the universe is just space. Atoms are just space with tiny little particles supposedly in them. And it's kind of mind-blowing when I think of illusion, when I look around just at myself and everything, and I think it's really all just space. And there's just like little bits of dust somehow in there that makes us appear as solid form and colors and shapes and everything, but it's all just space. And I feel like saying this, like, now I should just say, like, no, I'm not stoned.
No, but you're absolutely correct. There have been studies in brain function that talk about a large percentage of our mind is occupied by predicting what the next minute is going to be, or what we're walking, and like I can walk to my door, but I already can predict what I'm going to find on the other side of the door. So there's so much going on that our senses, our consciousness is reforming from memory and habit, so that there's a prediction going on. And I remember Pema saying to me once that the practice that she was working for herself, what she was doing to work with that right now, is just not predicting what is on the other side of the door, and opening the door with curiosity. Because like Ashanti said, it could be snow, it could be rain. And, and if I'm rushing off to an appointment, I have an opinion of snow is bad. If I'm a 2-year-old, or if I'm my dog Emma, it's like something to roll around in and have fun with. We have all of these opinions that are that are dog spit.
Hey, listen, even if you're a 74-year-old nun, you can roll around in snow. I've tried it and it's fun.
Annie, you wanted to say something?
Well, I was just telling Ginny how amazed I am that I can be here alone in my apartment. And it's amazing how much chaos I can generate in my own mind without any outside stimulus, hardly at all. Worrying about, next week, worrying about the pandemic, worrying about a million different things. And one thing I like that you said before was, my only role is to increase compassion and decrease confusion. I feel like that could be like, that's a Lojong, like for me, like it needs to be a neon sign in front of me.
Yeah, we're all working on that one. It's so easy to get caught up. I'm noticing the time is flying by this morning, and there are a couple announcements. So for anyone on Facebook, I already cut off Facebook. I'll have to write it in. The next slogan moves into practical application. And the first slogan in the practical application, or the relative bodhicitta, is Tonglen. Sending and taking should ride the breath. So I have carved away several weeks of retreat time, and I'm going to go into retreat. And our wonderful Umzes, the folks who've been leading meditation on the Tuesday and Thursday mornings, leading the chanting, are going to lead Tonglen meditation. So it's something that we've been working with very regularly. And so you'll have 3 different uh, within the same form of it, 3 different styles of explaining this form that we've been working with. So, each person, just by emphasizing the part of the practice they like or they find productive, might give you an insight in terms of how you're working with it. So the next 3 weeks will be slightly different, and every one of you, the way we become experienced in the Dharma is by taking it into retreat and really looking at it and giving time to focus and contemplate and integrate it into one's mind and being, not just things that we're reading. So I'm taking some time for that. So I'll be back Valentine's Day week, the February 13th, I believe, is that Sunday. Yes, I appreciate the time for retreat. And John and Peggy and Nancy is our backup person, and Kathy, if you want to raise your hands, just so people are familiar with the friends who will be leading meditation the next couple of weeks. Okay, so
I wish you a very fruitful and peaceful and joyful retreat.
Thank you.
I will also be in retreat with Gampo Abbey from afar. So,
yeah, this area of the world, when there's deep snow, it is a good time to go into retreat. Yeah. So let's dedicate our work today. It sounds like you had really great discussions and are really getting the child of illusion aspect. Before we leave with that part, Ginny, our resident grandmother, anything you want to contribute? You have to unmute.
I had a totally different experience with this meditation. Imagining getting off the plane or the children, I discovered that I was thinking too much and I didn't like it. It made me think. And so I just stopped doing that and I just went to my breath. And that worked for me. The visualization and the imagination of things wasn't good for me today.
I'm glad you shared that, because some things, as you reflect during the week, you might connect. So the point of the example is to find a way to connect with that very evocative quality, and you may find it in a totally different situation at some point. But yeah, absolutely. If an example is not helpful for you, or if a particular slogan is not helpful for you right now, then revisit it some other day and go on to one of the 56 slogans. There are 56 of them. Okay, let's go into dedication. Yeah. By this virtue may I achieve omniscience, and may all who travel on the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies, confusion the cause of suffering. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn may it arise, where it is born may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray that the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. For this realm, encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of every benefit and bliss without exception. Tenzin Gyatso, you who are one with Avalokiteshvara, may you remain steadfast until samsara's end. embodiment of the three precious jewels, Padma Pani, who holds the teachings of the victorious one, seeing the all-goodness meaning with the wisdom eye. May you who are spontaneously established activities live long for hundreds of kalpas. Noble Manjushri, the Lord of Speech, who manifests to hold the teachings of the Triple Gem, who raises the lamp of the sage's teachings, may you who are the light of the Dharma live long for hundreds of kalpas. The one known in the Holy Land as Arya Deva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chodingpa, the heart son of Jigten Sumgun, may the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. So one thing that they used to do at Gampo Abbey, really worked with Lojong extensively. And I think I mentioned they had posters on every wall. And they have these cards, and you can make your own cards with the slogans on them. So Annie, you were saying, I need a neon sign. And so I don't see my set of cards around here, but I printed up a set of cards, and you just shuffle them. And one card is on display for the day, and then the next day you can put another card on display. So they're meant to be keys that bring you back to the reminder of where you're going, the reminder of slowing down, the reminder of not getting caught up in confusion, the reminder that the point is to be able to rest in this spacious openness. So you might have fun creating cards for yourself and just having them, particularly while we're studying this, having them someplace visible in your home. And I did put the handout that has the list of all the cards on the website. So I believe it's in the virtual Sangha part of the website. Okay, so thank you all. How wonderful to practice together, and see you in February and have fun together. And our wonderful Umses will also keep the Tuesday and Thursday morning meditation going as well. So all of that will continue in a beautiful way.
Thank you so much, Khenmo. Thank you, thank you. Beautiful retreat for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Khenmo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Khenmo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Have a great retreat.
Oh, thank
Have a good retreat, Khenmo.
Thank you. Have a wonderful retreat. Maybe all you want.